I want to describe a pattern I watched play out in admissions committees more times than I can count. A technically competitive applicant, strong GPA, solid hours, reasonable recommendation letters, quietly moved out of serious contention. Not because their credentials were not competitive, but because something in the overall application created a specific kind of concern that committees could not always explicitly name in a rejection letter. This pattern has a name. It's the safe reject. For a few minutes, I want to show you exactly what creates a safe reject profile, and more importantly, what your application needs to do to make sure it never reads that way. A safe reject is an applicant who is technically competitive, but whose overall application creates institutional concerns that make admissions feel risky in ways that are difficult to articulate specifically. The committee cannot point to a specific qualifying factor, but the file doesn't generate confidence, it generates uncertainty. And in a competitive admissions environment, where programs are trying to manage their own accreditation requirements, uncertainty is not a risk they can easily afford. The safe in safe rejects means the committee feels comfortable passing on the candidate because the credentials were not obviously strong enough to demand admission. Reject means uncertainty about the fit, stability, enrollment probability. So, what specifically creates a safe reject profile? Because understanding this signals how you can make sure none of them appear in your application. Signal 1, the prestige-seeking application. This application reads as organized around the name changing, rather than a general fit. The personal statement that could apply to any program. The inability to articulate specifically what this program offers beyond its reputation as a dream school. The program list concentrated entirely on the most visible names with no evidence of general research into fit. This creates an enrollment risk concern. Will this applicant actually come if we admit them? Are we a safety school or a genuine first choice? The programs invest a significant amount of resource in every admitted student. They need reasonable confidence the admitted student will in fact enroll. Signal 2. This is one that eliminates more technically strong applicants than any other and is almost invisible to applicants who are creating it. Signal 2. The instability pattern. Multiple unexplained transfers, gaps in a record that's not addressed, a work history suggesting difficulty sustaining commitment, a personal statement that reads as reactive rather than purposeful. Each one of these are individually manageable, but in combination, they create a great risk to a program. Will the applicant complete the program? Can we afford to omit them given the program's graduation rate requirement? That question's not ever asked out loud, but it does shape admissions decisions quietly and consistently. Signal 3, the overqualification mismatch. And applicants whose stated goals diverge significantly on what the program's mission and clinical network support. A committee may pass on a technically stronger applicant whose goals don't align with what that particular program builds, not to penalize excellent, but to protect the completion rates and cohort fit. So here's the specific fit for each signal, because every one of them is addressable before you ever submit your application. For the prestige-seeking signal, every application for a specific program must demonstrate specific knowledge of that program. A generic enthusiasm that could apply to any program on your list is not good. Specific engagement with the mission, the faculty, the clinical placement network, the curriculum, good. Committees can tell the difference between an application written for them specifically and one that's addressed generically. The first communicates enrollment commitment. The second commits risk. For the instability signal, address everything that you could read as a disruption, proactively and specifically, not hoping the committee overlooks it, explaining it directly, framing it in terms of momentum and growth, and demonstrating a pattern since that point has been consistently moving forward. For the mismatch signal, research what that program actually produces and where graduates go. If your goals generally align, then say so. If they don't, consider removing the program off your list. It might not be a good fit regardless of its prestige. So, right now, read your current application as a committee member who reads about 400 to 500 of these in a cycle. Does the application communicate specific enrollment commitment to that program? Is there anything here that reads as instability? If yes, directly address it confidently. Are the stated goals and what you want match that program? Those 3 questions are self-reject diagnostic. Answer them honestly before you submit anything. Come join us in my school community, the OT Student Leveled Up, where I cover all safe reject prevention in depth, how to look at your program and address each concern before they're ever in the submission. For someone who maybe wants a little bit more in depth and work with me directly, you can book a group with me and have discussion with me regarding your application. You found it, now use it.